First Bank Nigeria Limited, Nigeria's oldest and leading bank in furtherance of its support and value for the development of the agricultural sector, hosted its first ever Agric Expo summit in Lagos. It brought together stakeholders in the agric sector who were eager to explore ways of collaborating to boost the value chain in the sector and improve the financing model for what is noted as a viable industry. Giving the opening remarks at the event, the MD/CEO of First Bank Nigeria, Dr. Deshola Adedunton, described agriculture as a sector that holds sway in the mission to eradicate poverty in the country, and also spoke on the essence of hosting the event.
As the provider of the most critical resource, food, agriculture holds sway in the mission to eradicate poverty and hunger in our generation. Indeed, the entire nation looks up to this sector, with its huge value chain, as the vision of hope for the positive future of our economic development. There is therefore urgency for generating a composite agro-industrial renaissance program as an integral part of the National Sustainable Development Agenda. Experts in Agric agree that agricultural systems are incredibly diverse, with crops, livestock, climate, soil, tools, and technology varying from place to place and even at times from farm to farm. One-size-fits-all solutions are unlikely to work, and solutions will need to be tailored to address regional and site-specific barriers to sustainability. This process requires the engagement of diverse stakeholders and sectors. They will require validation and tailoring of concrete strategies. Early action is important. More support and better mechanisms are needed for long-term thinking and action, including strengthening public research and development, human resources development, institutional change through meaningful engagement such as this Agric Expo. The vision for sustainable agricultural growth should not only be articulated at the highest levels of government, but should also entail policy emphasis on stimulating agribusiness development and increased participation of the entire domestic agricultural value chain in positively impacting our external terms of trade. As a financial service institution, First Bank is uniquely positioned to build strong alliances and partnerships with agro producers, processors, and storage companies to ensure improved environment in the agricultural sector. This partnership should then drive accelerated growth, high rates of returns, and up-to-date processes of moving food from the farm to our tables.
Minister for Agriculture and Rural Development, Chief Audu Ogbe, who was a special guest of honor, described the agro sector as a vital one, with the recent National Bureau of Statistics Q4 2016 GDP growth rate of about 4% and a 24% contribution to the GDP of the economy. The minister also decried the menace of importation of foodstuffs into the country, which he identified as a major threat to achieving self-sufficiency in food production, and listed the strategies of his ministry.
We knew about the past, we are concerned about the present, but you have to deal with the future. Because if you don't, you will die of hunger. You have to eat. And the business of food has been taken very seriously by other countries, but has been taken very lightly by Nigeria. Why are we still battling with food production? Why are we still quarreling about rice and sugar and milk? Why are we unable to do it? Many things have happened here. Too many changes in government, too many policy somersaults, too much distance between the elite, whether they are political, economic, or social, too much distance between us and the people at the grassroots. We have tended to make it look like those who are in agriculture are the forsaken of the earth, the nameless, unidentifiable old men and women in the village whose only business is to till the soil and feed us well. Their potential is declining, their age is not on their side, and as a result, we are now short of everything. We have depended on imports because there was oil and gas. One shipload of rice of 50,000 tons denies 14,000 Nigerians of their livelihood. We are planning to relaunch cocoa in about a month. We want to plant 15 million trees a year, and cocoa grows in 28 states of this country. We will relaunch cocoa with new varieties that yield in 2 years, and the research was carried out by Nigerians. The relaunching will take place in Ondo State, and then another launching in Cross River State. They are the two biggest producers of cocoa. But they grow cocoa too in Abia and in many other states. We're going to start commercial production of shea butter. And right now, research is going on how to graft new varieties of shea butter that will yield in 4 years, not 20 years, as in the wild. We have decided that in 2 years, we shall not export raw cashew nuts. We shall roast the cashew here and export it. Because from 3 tons of raw cashew, you produce 1 ton of roasted cashew, which sells in the world market now for $10,000. Until we take care of the stomach, the eyes and the ears and the head and the legs will never function properly. Thank you very much.
Delivering the keynote, Mr. Ayodeji Balogun, Country Manager, Affex Commodities Exchange Limited, gave insight into driving sustainable growth through agriculture.
How do we close the gap? We've seen that the non-oil, the oil export is 20 times larger than the non-oil exports. Now, this is not a function of grow 20 million metric tons or grow 30 million metric tons more. It is a drastic game changer that we need to happen to really be able to bridge this gap, to say, over a 5-year or a 10-year timeline, we need to increase the contribution of the non-oil from 5% to 25 or to 40%. And then we need to work from that absolute number back to the farm and say, how many smallholder farmers do we need? How many commercial farms do we need? How many industrialized people that would ensure that the quality of what we produce meets international standards? What are we doing about storage? And those are the kind of thinking that we really need. So in my opinion, I think it's a tripod. We need capital, we need talent, and we need to enhance productivity.
The First Bank Agric Expo also featured a panel session discussing the theme Reinventing Agriculture for Sustainable National Development. Highlight of the event was the formal opening of the maiden First Bank Agric Expo by the Agric Minister. The Agric Minister and MD First Bank speak on the Agric Expo, prospects of developing the sector, and strategic financing for agriculture.
Bank money is not free money, it has to be repaid. We have to organize farmers themselves to realize that if you get a loan, you must pay back. And so we'll get involved in the process of advising farmers. If you think you can't pay, don't touch it. We'll use cooperatives to make sure that no lazy individuals or truants or people who are in alcohol or some carelessness get these loans and run away, because I don't want to tell any bank, we're sorry, you lost 10 naira. There's no need for it. I think in that partnership, we'll engage more people, especially younger people, young graduates and young people who are interested in going into agric now. We will work together and call more meetings and get down to greater details on how to take these loans and apply them, and how to educate farmers on what to do so as not to lose money on their farms. So there'll be no question of saying I lost and that's why I can't pay back. That's that kind of story we don't want. We will also now bring in insurance and other security measures.
Agriculture is not just about feeding, it's also it's a business. And we believe this business, if properly harnessed, is actually very big. And when you also look at the importance of food security for a nation like ours, then it's very important that First Bank, as one of the dominant banks, need to take the bull by the horn to work with the government, all the key stakeholders, to find a way to harness all the potentials of agriculture for our country.
Stakeholders at the event give their takeaways from the expo and prospects for the agric sector in Nigeria.
Every farmer, the first point of problem we all encounter is finance. And since the minister has actually opened a whole lot of new intakes on how to go about finance, it's a welcome address. It's very encouraging. It's very good. We look forward to so many things First Bank is willing to do in this dimension.
This is very interesting, and it has been quite enriching. all from the perspective of the kind of finance available to agriculturists, those in practice and those who are interested in coming on board. I, for one, am interested in processing, because I think that is where we can add a lot of value, and that's what can also encourage a whole lot of the local farmers, to help them grow productivity. So today, First Bank has shown again that they can indeed be the first, in making these things happen in the agricultural sector. They can actually encourage others. They can actually lead the pack in the banking industry. That's what they've demonstrated today, and I'm very, very impressed because I have my eyes, so to speak, it's now open about the opportunities available, much more than I thought I knew. So with the minister's presence here also shows the commitment of this government, in agriculture. So it's not just saying, he came here and he gave us a practical analysis of the situation of things in the agricultural sector. And it was very, very rewarding, as you could see from the applause. People want to get more of this information about the sector so that they know where to key in. And that's what I think happened today.
From the maiden Agric Expo hosted by First Bank Nigeria, which is commendable, it is clear that clarity and consistency in policy, collaboration among stakeholders within the agri value chain, strategic financing of the sector, investment in research and development, and the provision of infrastructure will accelerate the growth and development of the agro sector, which will in turn have a multiplier effect on the economy.